So I thought I'd just give a bit of a tutorial on how to make a treehouse. With this one here, we've just run 100 by 100 pine 6 metre straight up, and that's fairly cheap. They're not that expensive to buy. The real cost comes in when you're trying to lay the floor, because there are a lot of pieces there. These 5x7s were basically the same price as buying flat timber that was thinner, and these have lasted probably about 7-8 years already. So a lot longer wearing, I reckon, in my opinion. We haven't actually painted it. It is pine, New Zealand pine, which is fairly long wearing. We picked up these plastic things from the US. They weren't too bad, they're on special, and also the fiberglass slippery dip. One comment I would make is that this is a really neat slippery dip if you don't want to make a fiberglass one or spend money. And it's very safe because kids can't fall off the edge if they're sliding in the middle. And what you do is you go up and you overlay timbers on either side, and you could do this much longer. And then what you can do is you just put a couple of pieces of timber on a bit of an angle coming out on either side, and if you wax it and smooth it all off, the kids won't get splinters or anything like that, because it's pine and they don't tend to get that. But the kids slide down here, like little kids just slide down there the whole time. But if they had somewhere to sort of guide their bum down, they'd actually go down quite fine. Or you could go on top of there and put a couple of long pieces of timber that go straight down, so they don't have the bop, you know, dump as they go down. But as it is, the kids slide down in the middle there all the time, surprisingly, and they climb up either side, especially the little kids. So that's just one idea in terms of doing a slippery dip, how you can do it cheaply, just with running timber down a surface. But that's a nice little idea. And then of course you've got the monkey thing here, little swing for small kids, somewhere to climb down in the tree, and a swing over here. So just a couple ideas for maybe how to run things. But I think don't underestimate the cost of all the flat timber when you're making something, because the whole cost of doing this, most of it's in the flat timber, and that all adds up. So, you know, there's maybe you know, 40,000 in, you know, vertical, $400 in vertical timber and $1,000 in horizontal timber. Gives you an idea. This is version 1.0 of our Flying Fox. A couple of mistakes I did make is I had just a standard pulley here. I didn't have it on bearings. Much better to have it on bearings. And also this height wasn't really needed. The bar could have been up about here and it would still be fine. One other thing to think of is that you can see how these little edges are gouged out. They're gouged out because the wire ends up, when this changes direction slightly, it ends up jolting and acting like a brake and suddenly stopping, because the wire ends up hitting the timber. So you've got to cut a bit of angle back into that if you're making a Flying Fox out of timber. Yeah, kids got a lot of fun out of that over the years. They're a little bit bigger now, but they still use it. One thing about a Flying Fox too is you need some sort of adjustment, which we have up here, just to pull everything, tighten it up as it gets a little bit looser. Yeah, all right, cheers.